Welcome back everyone to 100 Days Modern Minecraft Mining Dimensions. And we are starting out our world fresh with a new seed, marking spawn, and the gathering of resources. So, we've got a new 100 Days world, and it is time to gather some resources. I'm gonna start off with some wood, of course, and then some other things. Hope you enjoy and gather it. Have fun on our adventure with us. If this is the 100 days version of this video, if you are looking for a video that is more slowed down and focuses a little bit more on the journey of how we get there, check out the episodic versions of this world that will be posted in the next several days over the next month, which will be 100 days mining dimension 100 days Minecraft survival mining dimensions episodes, and that'll go through about every 10 days will be a new episode um, to show you what we covered, and those episodes will be about 30 minutes long each rather than the hour and a half long that we stuck all 100 days in. And this village is going to give us a lot of different things that we need right off the bat. It's going to give us some food, beginnings of our pumpkin farms, give us plenty of wheat for food. And now that that is done, it is time to start exploring our world a little bit, looking for where we want to set up our eventual starter base. It's a very interesting and cool terrain that we have right here at the beginning, and I really like this overlook right here. Looks really nice. I think we're gonna go right here, which means it is time to flatten it. I don't always do this, but it does make it very much easier at the beginning if you start with a flat surface. And so that is what we're going to be doing at the very moment, is we are starting with a flat surface and taking all of this dirt and things out. It does necessitate crafting a couple of tools and moving on from there, and a couple of chests, otherwise our inventory is going to keep getting full. And keep going. Now, a couple of mods that are being run in this, because this isn't 100% vanilla, will be more gems, mining dimensions, and probability chests. And we will be having a lot of fun with those very soon. And now we're gonna jump into our first time lapse of the video, and as we do require both this space over here to be flattened a little bit more for later projects, but more than that, we need some resources. We are going to go ahead and take out this sort of jagged peak hill type area right here. Not the big mountain, just the light hills peak area that was right here. And gather all of that stone and all of that dirt for later projects. And that is going to take just a few minutes, not too long, but that is going to take us a couple of minutes. This is made with the replay mod, so we do have plenty of those throughout it. And don't forget, throughout this video, if you see something you like, if you see something you think I can work on, to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. But more importantly, if you see something that you want to comment on, don't be afraid to leave a comment. I enjoy seeing all of those, and try and reply to as many of them as I can. With that being said, don't forget to also check out the Discord that has also been recently created to go with this. Um, and if you don't mind supporting me, go ahead and drop on over to the Patreon. It looks like we are just about done flattening this. And like I said, we are flattening it. We aren't, we're just taking those jagged peaks out. We aren't taking all of this completely down and making it completely flat in here. We're still leaving um, some of the ups and downs, some of that kind of stuff. We're just taking those peaks out, leaving some stone exposed, um, and that kind of a thing. Just taking off those giant two peaks that were right there between the mountain and the village that we walked across. Not bringing it all down to one level. With that being done, it is time to go get some other resources, and it is time to jump into some wood chopping. Birch is up first, and we're not just going to get enough to for our project that we are working on. We are going to go ahead and get enough to last a good little while, about a full chest full, hence the pretty much empty inventory that we are starting with. Um, And if you are wondering what day it is, go ahead and check the top right hand corner and it will show you my coordinates, where we are, what biome we are in, what time it is, and what day it is, along with the light level of the blocks that we are standing on. Very helpful little map, and that is Sarah's mini map if you are looking for a good um, map to use in game. We do have this good sized birch forest right here, which is very nice because we are not very far from where we are going to be creating our base. This is actually just outside of, or just the other side of spawn chunks from where we are going to be creating our base. So not too far at all. And it does take a little while to gather up all of these. And we are getting plenty of sticks and saplings as we go along as well. Plenty to take home, as well as replanting everything that we are taking. In relatively the same spot, maybe not exactly the same spot, but relatively enough that when we come back later, the forest should be just about the same. And the world will have went ahead and let those trees grow so that when we need wood again, they are here rather than just clear cutting all of this land. With that being done, we are done with our birch. Need to run back home just a moment and drop off this entire inventory full of birch materials. Go ahead and craft a new chest and drop it all on in. And craft a couple of new axes, and we're gonna slide across this river right here. We have a dark oak forest right here, and so we are going to go ahead and gather up all of that dark oak wood. It shouldn't take quite as long as the birch forest, seeing as these trees are a little bit bigger, just a little bit. And we will be replanting all of these. We are just checking to make sure that I have enough to take some home as well. but dark oak is one of those trees where it has to be planted in four. I believe it is the only one in vanilla Minecraft that requires to be planted in that box shape. I know the jungle, it's an option. If you plant it in the box shape, you automatically get the gigantic jungle tree. Whereas with the dark oak, it is required. You have to. So, when I need cows, I know where I need to go. Though getting them across the water would be slightly difficult, so probably not. But we do have this ginormous lava pool in the center to also be worried about, so. I did go ahead and put a couple of materials into our chest as we worked on gathering some more, and the reason for that is that scattered throughout, and I'm not paying attention on what I grab too much, is also the oak trees that you find randomly throughout all of this. And we are headed back home, hooray! Now it is time to step on into building once we fully get back to base. And we'll have to go back through and fix some of this on later on, because that can obviously not stay that way. So go ahead and drop these into that chest, sleep, and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and lay out that sort of foundation shape using this space. And it's not going to be a huge house. This is just the starter house. So we are going to give it its little bit of shape right here. So, and this shape can change a little bit even after we start building. If I made a mistake or something, and I think I did already looking back on it. We are going to go ahead and give it that even keel, take out that bottom, and go ahead and put in our birch base. So this is sort of just supposed to be a little bit of like that basement or foundation that peeks out, and you can see from the outside in certain places. We've got our main walls, which are going to be stone. And then on top of that, we have our next set of things. And go ahead and light it on up. Then climb on up and put in our base. So this is going to be our flooring for the second floor. I repeat, this is the flooring for the second floor. This is not the roof. But by putting that flooring in there, now I have a little bit of a place to be able to start working on that second floor. And that second floor is not going to be quite like the top, so we are putting in that sort of divider in dark oak wood, and then the cobblestone on top. And we are leaving that side area off of this second floor that is going to be a sort of porch area. It is not included in the main house. And then we are going to go ahead and start working on the roof. And I debated a little bit on this roof, quite a bit on how exactly I was going to do this. And eventually made my decision. And in doing this roof, I did discover the mistake that I made earlier, and it not quite being symmetrical up here on the bottom, which when I went in to put in the roof, did cause some issues. So that had to be fixed before we went any further. While I was fixing it, I went ahead and moved some of our chests on inside. And as you're watching this video, you may notice that we have a couple of different types of chests down there. We have our regular chests that we are used to seeing in game, and then we have a couple of different chests. And those come from the probability chest mod. It's a pretty fun mod. As you run through the game, you can find different chests randomly throughout the game, and they are decorated according to the biome that you are in. And that is us gathering some resources real quick that I forgot to grab before we come back and fix that. So, go ahead and putting the edge on our roof. And back to the probability chests. So, for example, over here on the plains biomes, we will keep finding lush chests. If you go down into a lush cave, that is what you are going to find. In the desert, you're going to find a desert chest, that kind of thing. And that is our house completely finished. And with that done, it is time to move on to a little bit of exploration where you are going to get to see some of those chests. So that is a lush chest right there. Break it down and it gives us a whole bunch of loot. Some fun loot. We are moving pretty fast through this. So using Xera's minimap, I can put a waypoint down and teleport between the two, which is why we did not take a bed with us. We did find a swamp here that moves into a mangrove swamp, so we are going to go ahead and leave another waypoint there before we move on. So we are looking at what general biomes are in the immediate vicinity of us. We are a little ways out. So right here we have a decent sized savanna, a bit of a warmer biome. It gives me hope that we might find a couple of the other warmer biomes. And right there you can see a desert chest. Being a warmer biome, the savanna is also going to have the desert mimic or chest. And that is the other fun thing, is that approaching them, you don't know if that is going to be a mimic, a hostile mob, or a chest. The chests will have loot, the mimic will attack you. So, it is a fun and interesting little thing to add to the game. It gives you some pretty decent loot, especially the gold chests, which you have to get gold keys to unlock. But more importantly, there's a couple of unique loot, keys and that kind of stuff, locks, that you have to gather throughout the game. And you can make those mimics friendly, and then they will become like a pet chest monster that will follow you around, which will be immensely helpful later on in the game when we start doing a lot more exploring and get into some of our dimensions. We are going to go ahead and drop off our loot that we have gathered already before we transfer back to the jungle and gather some more of this. And we are going to go a little bit farther. And there is enough on these chests to make them worth exploring. And this is a ruined portal. And jungle. And we are ready to start moving on. So we are headed back towards the plains in this direction, seeing what is over here. And in these oceanic biomes, or the beach biomes and those close to it, we are going to find the coral biome, or coral chests. And we can find these underwater as well. So in some of those submerged caves and that kind of thing, that is where we are going to find these coral chests. And the lower levels of our worlds, deep slate level and that kind of thing, we are going to find a deep slate chest, which is going to be pretty nice as well. And what else is also nice about these chests is that the loot will be sort of set up for whatever is in that biome. So the standard stone chest will have your standard that you're going to find Um, and like a village chest and that kind of stuff, or what you would find in a mine shaft. Likewise, the deep slate chest is going to give you some stuff that you would find in maybe some mineshaft chests. Um, Chests deeper down, there's not a whole bunch of difference between them. A desert chest like that one is going to give you a cross between a mineshaft chest and a desert temple chest. Um, Very, very useful. A cool chest is going to be something sort of like what you would get from a buried treasure chest. It has a couple of things from a couple of other chests, but not too much. And bundles galore. And we did find one of our most sought after biomes. Not as important in this world, but still pretty interesting and something that we were looking forward to. And that is the Badlands. Always important. Love that terracotta. Will be fun building with it later game. I don't tend to use it for a lot of my early game builds, but I do use it for some of my late game builds. Though I haven't had much luck actually getting to late game here lately. And we are going to explore this desert a little bit. Hopefully we can try and find a desert pyramid, though it seems that we will have no such luck. Though we did find this very nice desert village right here, which is going to be pretty nice. Go ahead and loot it. We gathered quite a few different things. We've got a good amount of iron now. Some chests, or not chests, mine carts, and that kind of thing, and some sweet berries. That's nice. And our first couple of diamonds. I think I saw that blue. Which, having more gems, diamonds aren't quite as important. However, diamonds are still the only material that can be transformed into netherite, so they are still pretty important to grab. But when it comes to tools, most of the diamond tools can also be used with carbonado, which is basically more gems as black diamond. And now we are working on gathering some sheep and some cows and that kind of stuff. Oh, the wolf stole the sheep. That's nice. Let's go ahead and head this way. I'll have to be careful bringing him in, but let's go ahead and find some sheep. Sleep real quick. And we've got one. Let's see, can we get this one? Gather all these on up. Make sure that they are following us. Let's try and grab that one on our way. Oh, we picked up a cow. Cow wasn't really the point, it was more the sheep, but nice. And we do have this chest right here, so we are going to go ahead and break it. Ooh, and we've got to be careful. That is a patrol over there. So, we are going to go, rather than straight over, we are going to come on this way. See if I can get that patrol to go away. And keep going. Or at least avoid the patrol altogether. Go ahead and grab these ones. Oh, go ahead and dig down a little bit. See if we can avoid that patrol. And organize our inventory before moving on a little bit. The patrol has moved away that direction, and so we are going to go this direction. A bigger loop than I was planning, but we will keep moving. The cow is still following us. That is interesting. We do have to be a little bit careful bringing them in. There is a wolf over here. I'm not sure why. Wolves don't generally tend to spawn in the plains, but this one did. So, and this pen, and bring them all in. Takes a couple of tries. With the gate there, only one can get through at a time, and it can be a little bit tight if they are not um, lined up just right. Go ahead and feed them and move on along. We've got some more to work on. With that done, it is time for us to jump on into a mining session after we drop everything on off. Gotta put all of our stuff on away first. The nice thing about those mimic chests is that they do contain a full double chest inside of that, worth of space inside of them. So they do make it quite easy to decorate with. When you can have a double chest worth of storage where a single chest is sitting. And you don't have to worry about a block being above them either. It means they will still open. Dropping everything on off. We're gonna go ahead and drop that key off as well. Before we go ahead and drop this and sleep. Before we move on to our next project of the day. It is time we got some serious ores. Which means it is time to go mining. So we are going to go ahead and step over here and go for it. Now, some of the later ones I will be doing this with full bright on. So it does get a little bit dark in times throughout here as I am going down. Bear with me. As it was not my intention, but mainly it was I did not want to light up all of these caves for everybody to see right off the bat. We can see that there's a lot of them here, but with me not using full bright, they only get lit up and actually visible like that, really, as I personally light them up. And we are just basically making a staircase down, lighting up as we go. And after that, we are jumping on upstairs, back up top, and we are making a bit of a cavern down here. Debating for a little bit on where exactly to place these, but we're gonna go ahead and place them here. And this is our mining dimensions mob right here. The red one is the nethering dimension. Basically gives you an additional nether. With not a whole lot of structures, and not all of the mobs can spawn. So you aren't going to see as many gas and things like that, but you are going to see a lot more, you are still going to see piglins and that kind of thing. The silver one was the caving dimension, which is basically the same thing as generating a world where it says caves only. And we are going into that one first, and it spawns you directly into a cave world. Did forget a couple of things that we do need to grab. And like anything since 1.18, these caves can be pretty massive. So we are going to make sure that we've got some bridges and that kind of things. And again, we still have the mimics and that kind of stuff will still be spawning. Along with the mimics and chests also come the jars, which will have a single thing inside of them, a little treat basically, And those are safe. The loot may not be the best, but they are useful to go ahead and grab. Um, Again, to add some of the mystery, we did go ahead and leave full bright off. Probably turn it on later on when we start digging and stuff. But not quite this time. And so we are moving into go ahead and creating that bridge up. We are going to take this all the way to the top to bedrock. And this will be the dimension we do a lot of our resource gathering in. All of the ores that we can find in the overlands will be here. And the nice thing about this one is, unless you run into a spawner, there are no hostile mobs in this world. So if you just want a safe journey mining, without all the hassles, this is the way to go. Same ore points as our regular game, but again, no mobs, which can be nice. We do have pockets of lava all over the place and that kind of stuff as well. Now that we have taken it all the way up, it is time to go on down. And we will be traveling down. And this will be a little bit difficult because, like I said, some of these caves are ginormous. And I'm not going to show all of it, but this is us making a bridge to go ahead and bring it on down. So basically we will have a staircase that runs from bedrock to bedrock. And we can mine at any of those levels basically. Was a bit tricky in this gigantic cave here. To find that correct spot where I should be putting it so that it was one continuous. And this is Macaw's bridges that we are using here. Very nicely done. A mod that I definitely enjoy using. They aren't too resource heavy, but they provide a good good walkable space that looks nice. We'll have to go back through and expand those a little bit, but we are going to do pretty much the same exact thing down here on this one. Find our spot where we need to put our bridge and go ahead and place them. I did mess up on my count on that one and ended up like 4 blocks in front of it. So, gotta go back through and do it again. Gonna go ahead and take all of that stone support off where we originally placed stuff. The nice thing is that you can light the bridges up as well because there is holders in the bridges to hold your torch as well. So lighting them up doesn't take too awfully long. We are doing a little bit of exploring at this level. We aren't too deep yet, but still high enough to make it interesting. And from there, we are going to go ahead and move on to moving a little bit deeper. Got a couple more things to light up, and then we are moving deeper. We are at the edge of a face here, and then we are moving down on in. Just missed that cave and that one. How interesting. Oh, some massive lava there. Mine shafts do generate, so you'll see the standard spawners from there. Squids also do. Now that we made it to bedrock, we are going back up here. We had that gigantic cave that for a moment showed up on our map, and I was hunting for an entrance to there because I wanted to explore and find some chest loot. One of the things I like about these caving dimension is you get low enough and you just get gigantic caves like this. where normally this would be covered in hostile mobs. You don't have to deal with a whole lot of mobs, and you can just focus on getting a whole bunch of the loot. And it is in here that we've come across our first gold chest. So luckily we do have a couple of keys. We will be able to open a couple of those. And we also tame our first mimics. So using a suspicious orb and a unfriendly key, you can make a friendly key, which will make the mimic start attacking you and become your friend. Of course, the unfriendly key is going to be trapped here, but we can go ahead and do that anyway. We did go ahead and leave a chest on over here at our point. You can transfer back and forth between that, but we are going after more of these chests later on in our exploration. Not as severely as we did before. Went ahead and made it friendly, and keep on going. And so there is two ways to go about that. You can actually use an unfriendly key on a regular chest, and make it into a mimic, and then it will attack you, and then you can use the friendly key on it to make it friendly. Or you can wait for a mimic to attack you and just use the friendly key. The choice is yours. Having run out of gold keys, we went ahead and just started marking the gold chest. And the nice thing about mimics as well is that they will also attack whatever hostile mobs are going after you. They, like a wolf pet or anything like that, feed it meat and it will regain its strength. Doesn't have a ton of hearts, but it does add some help to you. I mean, I wouldn't take them into battle with, say, the Wither with me, but I can certainly take them up against other mimics and against some other things as well. So there are some chests that are unique specifically to the Nether, as well as some chests unique specifically to the End as well. With our journey now over, it's time to compile all of our loot together and take it on up top. And we have come out with a lot. So if you're seeing us have some things that we shouldn't quite have yet, purple blocks and that kind of stuff, some end loot, not any elytra, some of that kind of stuff comes from the gold chests. diamonds, enchanted armor. Those gold chests are pretty much like an loot chest. So you can walk away with some pretty nice things, but of course you have to go back through it and check and see what enchantments you want. Some of them are pretty useless, some of them are pretty good. You just gotta sort through it. I'm not really doing a whole bunch of sorting quite yet, we're just sort of collecting everything up. I did discover that you can go ahead and bundle the bundles together. So we went ahead and did that and saved up some space as well. I did go ahead and get both Eyes of Ender and just like we normally do, when in the nether dimension, I go up as high as we can and I start building our tunnels. For me, this is the easiest way I have discovered to sort of find biomes that I need, escape biomes that I don't want to be in a whole lot, and just cover some good amount of land without running into too many crazy lava pockets. Eventually we do have to come down, and I will start making branch tunnels in which we climb down to sort of find fortresses, but I have discovered that if you follow the certain axis way, it is a lot easier to find them. You are going east to west, you will normally find them pretty quick. It's hit or miss if you are running north and south. Of course, we don't have to worry about that as much here. The reason I am going down is we are looking for ancient debris. And again, remember you are seeing this from an outside third perspective. So I did not realize as I'm trying to make our bridge down that we were surrounded by this much lava. And the other thing about this is that I made all of these videos, I did all of my recording ahead of time, and then I did my editing. So all of this was done afterwards. So there's no, oh, she saw that on the video. No. This is all secondhand. I compiled this afterwards. Basically what I'm looking for here is, so when you're looking for ancient debris or something like that, you want to go to either the nether waste, the basalt deltas, or the soul sand valleys. Even basalt deltas is not really where you want to look. You want to look more in Soul Sand Valley for the nether wastes. The warp forest or the red forest. With all of those trees, that adds a whole bunch of extra blocks to your game. Or to where the dimension that you are running in. And if that block has already been warp fungus or something like that, then it will not, even if the system later says, oh, let's put an ancient debris here, it won't place that ancient debris because that block has already been made into a special block. Only netherrack. So, we want to find the netherrack. That's the nether waste. You'll be digging down and suddenly you hit soul sand, which can tell you, oh, I'm about to jump out of the ceiling. So it basically tells you, hey, be careful. When you're digging up, that's how, oh, I'm coming out into a new cavern. I just ran into the soul sand. And originally, when I read the description for this dimension, I was thrown for a loop a little bit because I thought, like the caving dimension, we wouldn't have to worry about any mob spawning. I was quickly debased of that notion. As far as I know, it's just the big structures like the fortresses and that kind of stuff that do not generate. And having gathered several blocks of ancient debris, we went ahead and smelted them all down to netherite scrap, and then forged them on into netherite ingots. And we went ahead and used one and made up some pants, but nothing else yet. But we did do it, and I would go ahead and show that, but we had a problem with the footage from the creation of the sheep farm. It's just a standard sheep farm. You can check out any of the tutorials for an AFK sheep farm. Pretty straightforward, pretty basic. Actually didn't do this one quite right. We'll have to go back through it at a later time and fix the front, because I made the rails 1, 2 in, and so they are going underneath the redstone rather than going underneath the fence, which means anything that lands on this block with the fence is not picked up by the others, which can cause a problem. After that, we had some organization we needed to do. And some preparation work before we headed on back to the Nethering dimension. We had a couple of things to grab from there that we had forgotten, and back to base for some sleep before we moved on to our next project. Gathered some more meat on that kind of thing, and moved back on down to the mines. Unfortunately, we have a couple more resources to get before we can move on to our next solid project. Plenty of mining to be done, so keep on going. Basically, we needed some iron, coal, and that kind of stuff, and then I was thinking about it. I have a better place to get that. So, the best Y level to get iron and coal nowadays, especially iron, is up high. So, originally I had gone up to about, after going back through all of these stairs and thinking all of these that I knew I wanted out, we went ahead and we hit 250. Before I remembered, 250, yes, that's high, but that's not where I actually need to be. Went ahead and slept, dropped things some more off before we headed on back to the caving dimension. And this time, we did a little bit of mining up here. But then I remembered, oh, 250 is high, But even up this high, there are certain Y levels that are the best. Am I perhaps too high? I mean, yeah, I was running into these massive coal chunks, but I wasn't running into as much iron. And so I was very curious. What all iron did I need? What level did I need for iron? So, after unloading onto the chest we left down here, went on back up here. We went for a little bit longer mining. Up at this level before we dropped down to Y level 232, which is actually the best level for iron in the game. You can get a good amount of iron anywhere between like 150 and there, but the best is going to be at 250. With that being done, we made up some fresh tools and we moved on to our next project position. Again, I needed to climb. Unfortunately, we had to take some of this natural generation landscape away, but if we were going to keep up with the sheep and the cows, I needed a farm, which means we needed to move some land. We didn't have a good spot that was flat enough to make a good farm, which meant it was time to clear land, unfortunately. Luckily, with the more gems tools, hammer, and excavator, this does make a pretty large job and take it down quite a bit, so it is not as time consuming. You can move a lot of materials a lot faster. You can go ahead and removing that last layer of stone. We are not messing with the dirt on that layer because we are actually going to fill all of that in here in a moment. At this point, I do believe I have turned on full bright, which is why it still looks bright, even though we are having passages of days. Getting a little bit of the night right there. And so basically, full bright is part of the X-ray mod. I don't like the X-ray itself. I do like the full bright where we will make everything as if everything was lit up to 14. Hooking that on and then jumping into replay mod, and it will work. And even when you are exporting videos, the full bright will still show through. I don't like using it for my gameplay because I tend to not be able to tell when it's nighttime and when it's not. Then I was testing. I went ahead and filled it all in with water. I was going to do it one way, and then looked at it and said, oh, this doesn't really fit with this vibe I'm giving here. Let's do it a different way. Went ahead and put our initial water down. Grabbed a chest with some seeds on it and made our box of where of our dimensions. Initially, these did change. Went ahead and put the rest of our water spots in, and then filled them all back in because I realized if I moved them 4 back, I would have an additional 4 rows in the front to put things. And that back one does get filled in eventually. Went ahead and plowed most of it. Before I started planting some, realized that, oh, I didn't do alternating rows. And the plants do grow faster if you alternate the rows. And then did so. Next, we jumped into our next project. I had all of these new ores. Now I needed a better smelting system to smelt them on up. So by using the last of our iron that was already pre-smelted on some hoppers. But of course, I don't just do a regular farm or a regular super smelter. Mine does experience gain as well. So went ahead and placed the redstone on in to do that. And so basically, for everything that you burn in the furnace, you get a little bit of experience. In traditional super smelters, it is a little bit difficult to get the experience out of that. With this type of super smelter, you put in the redstone, you can flip the lever, and it turns off the hopper, which leaves everything in the furnace. So that when you collect the things in the furnace, you can automatically get all of the experience that has been stored in your furnace. We did not finish that. Part of the reason that I went ahead and built the super smelter was that I needed some smooth stone, which we used the super smelter to go ahead and build. So we've got the framework here, and it will be sitting as just the frame for a little bit. So this is a rather small super smelter. It's only 6. But so while we were waiting on that, we went ahead and we jumped down to this lava pocket down here, dropped some water buckets, and collected and gathered some obsidian. Now, using the hammer on the obsidian does make it break all 9 blocks. However, you have to be breaking the obsidian block. By breaking deep slate, it will not break the obsidian block. So, did barely escape that one through a teleport. That would have been a very nasty death if we had not. Especially with all the things we have in our inventory. I mean, that would have been a whole bunch of diamonds. Remembered my lessons, and we decided not to do that again. Collected some more this way. Collecting our water, putting it there, so that we get that side as well. Our mine. Well, that will have to be fixed. And collected that, grabbed those diamonds, grabbed our chests, headed back down here to fix this from where the water came in. Loaded up some more, dropped our ores and stuff on in there, and headed back to the nether. But this was not the nethering dimension, this was the actual nether. And so first thing we did was our stone box. And this one I purposely made not with the intention of netherite and ancient debris and scraps, but we needed to take a look for some structures. I was ready to and wanting to take on a bastion, or at least find and locate a bastion, a fortress, or something of that nature. And it did take us quite a while to find them. This redwood forest, or the red forest, took a whole long time. Seemed to be never ending. And then we got to a soul sand valley. And I just kept going. I had a point that I wanted to go through, and then I started making our paths out and down, glanced around a little bit, and that kind of thing, before moving on to the next hallway. And that is why our staircases are going in multiple different directions. Here is because we are doing more of a search cautious because there is going to be a gigantic open area below you. I hit the jackpot here. I was actually about turned around because we ran into that top one, but I thought I heard something, and so we went ahead and continued. And actually, by this point, I was hearing the blazes, and so it didn't take quite as long to find them. I actually thought I was healing a ghast, and so I figured, oh, there must be a big open spot below me. Let's go find it. Once we returned with some of those blaze rods, our smooth stone was finished, and so we went ahead and put in the edges there. Waiting for a little bit of more things. Originally, I was going to make the top of that stone, and so we're waiting for some more stone to smelt up. I went ahead and filled out the remaining, or 2 of the remaining 3 mining dimensions. And that would be the actual mining dimension and the climbing dimension. So the blue one is the mining dimension. Basically an overworld, but you only have, and we went into the climbing dimension first, which has basically badlands and plains. Basically, that is what the entire world is. To give you a lot more of that overland mode to climb and explore. I do have it split here so you can see what I'm actually seeing on my screen and what we're actually seeing from the sky, so you can get a bit more look at the biome. This is that mining dimension where you are getting a lot more of the other things. Basically, it is exactly like the overworld, except it is only made of deserts and plains. Only 2 dimensions, or only 2 biomes. So right off the bat, we found this desert pyramid. I do have our main screen up in the lower right-hand corner so that you can really see the loot that we're getting. We did walk around quite a bit. But also, we've got the main screen, the bigger screen in the upper left-hand corner, which is going to show you what we are overall seeing in the biome. That way you can actually see a couple of things that even I miss, but you can follow our path across the land as well. We ran into several interesting structures along the way. A few nether portals, more than a few villages, and several other things along the way. It was another chance to gather a whole bunch of loot, and that is what a lot of this video came down to, is a lot of gathering materials, gathering loot, and that kind of stuff. Preparing for our next big project. Found more than a few mimics and chests. Enjoyed them. To take a few with us, we found this copper hut, which we did end up taking completely down. It was fun to do. And I believe the hostile mob that actually goes with it never attacked us. And eventually we just moved. Yeah, I did have some trouble actually reaching up to get the desert chest that was up here on top of this ledge, but eventually, after going back and forth, we did find it, and we moved on. We did keep bunch of chests. With it being such an open land right here, it was another good chance to find a ton of loot. Along with some other things, we found the village here, and then a little bit farther up the way from this village, after we finished looting everything, we did find this house type thing up over here. We spent a good time inside of it, emptying all of the chests and that kind of thing. Basically just gathering all of the loot from it. I'm not exactly sure what the house was supposed to sort of be. But it was fun either way. Found a lot of cobwebs and that kind of stuff inside of it before we went ahead and we moved on. Looking at our map, I couldn't help but notice it was almost day 100, which meant our video and our adventure for this time was almost over. So I figured we go ahead and grab a couple more chests before we did something special for day 100. The dawn of day 100 was finally here, and we were doing something special, something fun. Gathering all of our gold keys up, we headed down to our massive cave in the caving dimension, on the hunt for gold chests. We were gonna open as many as we could over the next day. I wasn't expecting this to take more than a day, in all honesty. But I wasn't paying attention, and I wasn't thinking about how many keys and how hard these chests were actually to find, and how many keys that we actually had. So, it did take us a little bit past day 100, but we gathered them all up, and we walked away with a ton of massive loot. Challenge for all of you while we watch this final loot gathering session: how many enchanted golden apples are we going to walk away with? very out of the way spot. But eventually we did, gathering up all the loot, placing it where it was supposed to go. The bundle certainly came in handy. We finally had everything. And how many enchanted golden apples do you think we walked away with? From this trip, we walked away with 3. Everything said and done, we are back at our home to take a look at what we have accomplished in 100 days. In 100 days, we built our starter base. We built our functioning mine. Built a working super smelter. Have our portal hub down here with a whole bunch of mimics. Have 2, not 1, but 2 working cow farms. A sheep farm. A crop farm. And another portal. So not a whole lot, but what really gives us the edge in having successfully completed, at least in my mind, successfully completed this 100 days in Minecraft, is our goal wasn't to get a whole bunch of structures complete, a whole bunch of that kind of stuff complete in this 100 days. We're going to start working on mobs and structures in our next one, but the focus of this one was gathering resources, and I think we've done pretty well. We've got plenty of resources gathering in the wool farm for when we dig deep. We have plenty of more food in the cow farm, and more importantly, we have plenty of resources. Will we be gathering more of that? I have no doubt, but for our basics, we have pretty good resources. Plenty of enchanted materials and tools that we can use to create better tools and enchanted gear, which is going to be our focus next episode, is a full set of enchanted armor and tools to our specifications. Plenty of loot, including a trident. More that needs to be sorted. Let's see. Went through this side, went through that side. Plenty of armor that needs to be gone through. But best of all, heading on upstairs, we have a real treasure loot. We have a whopping 7 nether stars, 7 enchanted golden apples, and 2 totems of undying. So we're in a pretty good spot. With that said and done, thank you for watching this 100 Days in Minecraft Survival Mining Dimensions, and I will see you in the next one. This is Amethyst64 signing off. I hope you have a wonderful Minecraft day. Like and subscribe.